Hi, this is Heather Bergman with Peak Facilitation Group, and I'm here this afternoon interviewing my friend Tom Fry to hear his thoughts on collaboration. Hi, Tom.
Hey Heather, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Hey, what's your job? You work over there at the old American Forestry Foundation, and love to hear what do you do there?
Yeah, so I am, what is my title? I am the Western Director for the American Forest Foundation. AFF is an organization, oh gosh, I don't know, several decades old, based in DC. Started up a Western program back in 2014 when I came on board, so was able to get in on the ground floor and help create this thing from scratch. It's been a hoot.
Fantastic. So, in your current job and in jobs before this, way back from when I met you, all the moons ago, that's 15 years now, right? Uh,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah. What's been your experience with collaboration? Where have you done it? Context.
Everywhere. Um, Collaboration follows me around like a bad habit. Um, uh, the nature of the work that we do, and I mean that by the royal we, is I think inherently collaborative, inherently collaboration. There's the capital C, we're involved in collaboratives, and then there's the small c of how we get things done, which is through collaboration. So, I think back to, our start, your and my start, back in 2002, Hayman Fire, the Front Range Roundtable coming out of that was, certainly my first experience with collaboration, of formal collaboration, informal collaboration in the workplace. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since.
Fantastic. So, why? Why do it? It's a pain in the butt.
It is a pain in the butt. There's no getting around that. I think, well, I could go philosophical on you, but I'm not. I was thinking about this, and I'm like, aren't human beings by nature collaborative? Like, think about when we were kids in the sandbox and blah. So I'm not going to go there. Why do we do it? I'm not sure that there's a viable alternative. Yeah, we can decide what's best individually and pursue our own individual initiatives or agendas. But at the end of the day, ultimately, that's not durable. The durability that collaboration provides, the shared ownership in whatever the collaborative decision, air quotes decision is what makes it essential. It's about surrounding yourself with people, colleagues who are looking in the same direction. They may not have all the answers. You're not going to have all the answers, but boy, howdy, you come together, and all of a sudden, you can create something that is certainly more robust than I could create by myself. And it's that robustness that I think is what is compelling about collaboration, is pain in the butt as it is, day in and day out.
Fantastic. How do you know a good collaboration when you see one? What are the marks of good?
Good collaboration is marked by, I think, transparency, honesty, accountability. Transparency, this is what I am at the table representing and trying to get out of this. Honesty in that transparency to both yourself and to those that you're working with. There's nothing worse, I think, than folks who assume that they're coming to the table without an agenda, and it takes, a month or 6 months to get to a point where they actually recognize the agenda that they're representing. So being honest with yourself and with others on the front side, creating that transparency about what it is that you're in it for, I think is really important and a hallmark of good. And then accountability. Good collaboratives hold each other to account. There is an accountability for that collective will that everybody at the table assumes and owns.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not enough for, and I'll pick on the Forest Service, right? They're our favorite whipping dog, and they more often than not don't deserve it, though sometimes they do.
Depends on the day, yeah.
Right? Or any agency. It doesn't have to be the Forest Service, right? Where it's collaboration is a box that you got to check, and at the end of the day, you're going to go back and do whatever it is that you were going to do to begin with. We hold each other to account, ourselves and each other, right? So good collaboration, good collaborators are willing to own that accountability. It may be uncomfortable to push back on your parent agency or even your parent organization and say, nope, this is what we agreed to do, and by golly, we're going to do it. It's really easy to say, it's really hard to do, but I think that's certainly a mark of good. What is collaboration good for? It's great for a lot of things, but it's not the end all be all everywhere. And it just occurs to me, strikes me, maybe Captain Obvious here, that the utility of collaboration increases in proportion to the complexity and the scope of issue you're working on. So I think about the work that we're doing in Montana, the work we're doing in California. Yeah, I mean, it's not all that different than Colorado per se, but we're just trying to do private lands conservation in key areas. I think about the work in the Southwest. We're not trying to solve for recreation and water quality, community protection and habitat protection, where you've got a lot of vested interest in each of those areas. In Montana, in California, we're just trying to get landowners connected with a forester that get connected with financial assistance to be able to do the work that they need to do on the ground, that ultimately, so our theory goes, adds up to something more than the sum of the parts. Mm-hmm. So it's less inclusive. The scope is more narrow, even if the impact we're trying to have ultimately is the same.
So do you think it's fair to summarize more complex equals more voices at the table, probably therefore more time to get it done, but then maybe a more robust outcome with greater longevity-ish?
I think that's exactly right. Yep, well said. Where my mind goes is like the origins of why are we doing this collaboration stuff? Why are we doing this multilateral stuff? And I think in part it's because we are cognizant of the past and how those bilateral negotiations or work efforts, work streams, ultimately created buzzsaws of opposition. Mm-hmm. Because more folks weren't included. Decisions were made in, the proverbial black box, and not everybody could live with that. And so we recognize that if we're going to get to what, I talked about earlier, the durable co-owned solutions, they've got to be, co-owned multilaterally. But I don't know that that's necessarily the right answer in every circumstance.
Agreed. And I'm interested just to think about collaboration as a correction, an effort to correct past efforts, and will it be an overcorrection?
Exactly.
And will it have the results that we thought?
Yeah, exactly.
Fantastic. You and I have known each other for all the years. And then in the last few years, as me as your facilitator and you as a participant and often a client, and my staff have also facilitated you and other members of your staff. And what we in our team have observed about you and your team is AFF folks tend to show up uniquely prepared for or skilled at collaboration relative to many of our other folks that show up in collaboration. And so what we're wondering why is that? Is there something unique that happens at AFF in terms of who you choose or how you train, who has been chosen in collaborative skill building, or y'all just get lucky?
I think it's luck.
Really?
Blind luck. Yeah. No. It's a function of who we are, both as individuals, and I think as an organization. I would like to believe, and I'll look for you to correct me if I am misrepresenting this. I'd like to believe that we, AFF, again, as an organization, as individuals, have a pretty clear understanding of what our objectives are, and what we're empowered to bring to the table. And, again, goes back to those core elements of collaborative success: honesty, transparency, and accountability. I think we're able to bring that. I think I'm empowered to bring that in my role. I think that I have empowered or can empower my staff to bring that to the table. And there's not a lot of second guessing about what it is that we're trying to achieve, or what it is, where we can bend and where we can't bend. I think we know that, and we bring that to the table and represent that as honestly as we can.
You've been involved in collaboration, as you mentioned, in Colorado in forestry since Hayman Fire 2002. And it's, I assume, been an interesting ride in some directions that maybe surprised you. What is the future trajectory of collaboration in forestry in Colorado?
I don't see the alternative. I don't think that we can unring that bell.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it is fairly well the established norm at this point. And, back in the day, right, as you well know, it certainly wasn't the norm. I think for better or worse, we've created that norm, and I don't see us going back on that. What I hope is that collectively we get a lot better at it, that we can move quicker and more efficiently through the processes than maybe we have in the past. And I'm actually optimistic that we'll be able to do that. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's not a destination. Cliche as that sounds. And we are improving. We'll continue to improve. And I wouldn't expect or wish anything different.
Ooh, that was a nice answer right there. If you could summarize your advice or your big takeaways about collaboration in 10 words or fewer, what would you say?
Oh boy. Yeah, that is a good one. In 10 words or fewer, show up, honest to yourself and to others, and know where you're going.
Hey, that's not bad. That's 13. 30% cost overrun, man. Tom Fry, my friend of so many years, thank you for taking the time to share with me your thoughts and your wisdom, your experience on collaboration. I really appreciate it.